Hey, wake your ass up. Let's go. It's race time.
Hola, and welcome to Espanol 2022 Formula One Grand Prix de Premio de Español. Barcelona, Spain, Catalonia, also, depending on your politics. It's a beautiful country. It's got something that looks disgusting, but is in fact highly decorated. Viva la España, especially literally translated to after you, my number one teammate. People don't know that about Spain. It happens a lot here. Nonetheless, it is a fantastic cathedral to ugliness. This year, unusually, the running of the bulls saw a win for the bulls. There you go. There's a little pun on Grand Prix there, especially against that guy. That guy, by the way, lying in the ground, that was Sergio Perez. Anyway, here we are, the Palace de la Palisade. Another Jesus Christ, because they're all bloody Catholic over there, and endless amounts of trees. Weirdly enough, despite the fact they've had a heat wave and a very phallic symbol. That puts Spain into perspective, I feel. So welcome everybody to Formula One Grand Prix in Spain. With my current co-host, I say current because I may not have this job much longer. Fabulous Fabio.
How you doing?
Hola.
Hola. Yeah.
Yeah, hola.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
No, I can't. No, mucho grande. No, I don't know any Spanish.
Okay.
I would only be bullshitting if I did, so there we go. But nonetheless. So, yes, welcome everybody. Thank you for being here. Welcome to the show. And, of course, best wishes going out to anybody who needs best wishes. Excellent. Moving on then, I will get straight to it, I guess, which would be the Formula One review of the Spanish 2022 Grand Prix. It was an amazing poll by young Charles Leclerc, the pacey pastry. And yeah, basically a phenomenal lap. Max suffering on his final run in the pole in the qualifying with probably hydraulics problems potentially, and therefore unable to do a run to challenge Leclerc. Leclerc taking the pole by 0.3 of a second, a massive margin. Unfortunately, Sergio Perez couldn't quite match that and was behind in third place, which was good because that is the grippy side of the track. However, upon starting and the 5 light, I've just got to talk over that. Upon the 5 lights going out, it was a fantastic start. Leclerc got away perfectly ahead of Max Verstappen. Leclerc cut across the track to avoid Max going down the inside, which undoubtedly he would have done, and therefore Leclerc took the lead. Max in second place, Russell fantastically coming up and driving around the outside of Perez. Lewis and Sainz having a bit of a ding-dong. Sainz coming off bets, going around the outside of Lewis. Then into turn 4, where a lot of action happened. Magnussen tried to go outside of Lewis, and they came together, giving Lewis a puncture and sending Magnussen off the track. Unfortunately, this meant that Lewis dropped to the back with Jan, and it's not Jan, it's Kevin. Jan was his dad, probably. I don't even know whether that's true. Is that true, Fabio?
I have no idea.
Kevin Magnussen? Is that Jan Magnussen? No, anyway. No, it's probably not. There's too many Kevin. Magnussens. Yeah, he's definitely Kevin. Okay, right. Kevin! Anyway, we won't go down there. Nonetheless, they fell to the back of the pack, and it was a chase for both of them to get back up. Lewis eventually doing the better of the two of them. Nonetheless, the race went on with, of course, Leclerc in first place, pulling away, and Max and Perez faithfully holding position, until we got to lap 7, where Carlos Sainz, who was back in 5th place, got a sudden gust of wind going into turn 4, and we don't know where the gust of wind came from in this particular incident, mind you. And unfortunately, he went into the gravel trap, and that sent him back a number of places. He did manage to get out because the gravel traps are fairly flat. Still, nonetheless, it was unusual. A rookie error, one might say. Still, in the next 2 laps later, in fact, Max Verstappen then did exactly the same thing and went off in turn 4. The team later saying it was a sudden gust of wind. We reckon the wind probably was them bullshitting. That's all I'm saying. Max went into the corner too fast. His rear end stepped out, and there he had to then counter steer into the gravel trap, and this put him back. But this wasn't to deter the Max, because it was just led him to a more determined outcome. And in fact, they changed the strategy to a 3-stop strategy for Max, especially after he was struggling to get by Russell, who had then overtaken. He couldn't get by Russell because his DRS stopped working or was working intermittently. And Russell drove a superb race, I have to say, up until, well, he just drove a superb blocking race with a slightly inferior car, and showed really what a demon F1 driver he is going to be. Really sticking it hard to Max Verstappen. That's not too sexual for you. But nonetheless, Russell did well. He acted like a Jack Russell, did George Russell, which is lovely there. I like that kind of jokes. Nonetheless, moving on, Leclerc did very well up until lap 27, where unfortunately his there seemed to be a problem with the Ferrari. Don't know exactly what happened. I'm going to turn to my co-commentator for that in a little while. It may have been engine, although I doubt they will say it's engine. Probably electronics, if I had any guess about it. But I don't know the actual reason, so we'll get back to that. And I'm glad Fabio appreciates why I'm saying electronics. Okay, so nonetheless, Max then switched, as I said, to a 3-stop strategy, and that started him moving back up the field, back up to Bottas, back up to Russell, who he overtook easily, as of course now he was on a different strategy, on different tyres, and was able to use the tyres. Then it was up behind Bottas, and Bottas did his usual of going, oh, it's a number 1 driver, I better pull over, which he did duly. In fact, he was able to be overtaken around turn 9, I think it is, around the outside, which is extremely unusual. But there you go. That then switched Russell, I believe, onto a different strategy, and he then went on to a 2-stop strategy or 3-stop strategy himself, and in order to cover Bottas and at least guarantee him 3rd place, which is pretty much how it turned out to be, because of course that just left Perez in the lead, with Verstappen coming up fast behind him. And of course there was no question that Perez was going to play the pool cleaner for Max Verstappen, and in fact he did clean his pool, which allowed, in the time it took Perez to clean the pool, Max Verstappen's pool, it allowed Max Verstappen to overtake him very easily into turn 9. No, was it 9? No, it wasn't. It was 8. So that they basically left Verstappen in 1st place, Perez unable to do anything in 2nd place, and Russell in 3rd place. And that was the Spanish Grand Prix, basically determined by team orders, of course. And just to point out, Barcelona often is the case that team orders come into play here, because it's very much a power circuit, and the teams tend to go 2 by 2, at least historically anyway. Science just managed to get up to 4th place after overtaking a great comeback by Lewis, who got up to 5th, but then had to cool his car and allow Science past. And that was the race review. If we could just have the results, and we'll just finish up there, and then I will pass it over to Fabio. So, first place was Max Verstappen, who was kind of gifted it in some respects by switching to a third strategy despite having a failing car with the DRS. Sergio Perez, who dutifully made way for his younger, more attractive team member, and is now going to be called the pool cleaner by me all year. Excellent. We have Christopher Mounty in the chat. Welcome, Christopher. In third place, Jack Russell. George Russell. George Russell in third place for Mercedes. A fantastic race by him, struggling with his car all the way through. Fourth place, Carlos Sainz, getting the most out of his car. And there we go. Fifth place was Lewis Hamilton. For the first time this year, it's good to see Lewis Hamilton up there. They were much happier. Excuse me. Sixth place with Valtteri Bottas. Okay. Valtteri Bottas, sixth place. Just backing Lewis up. Great job by Valtteri again. Just familiar territory to say that. That isn't the case, though. Valtteri had a great race for Alfa Romeo. Seventh place. Seventh place with another under the radar, Ocon, who seems to be extremely consistent and is there or thereabouts virtually every race, or at least as good as his car could do. Eighth place, Lando Norris, getting the most out of his car for the first time in a few races, not having an unlucky race. So well done to Lando. A good race by him. 83 seconds behind the leaders. So come on now. Ninth place, Fernando Alonso. Great result by him considering. And Yuki Tsunoda in 10th place, filling up the points. Good race by Yuki. The first time he's really outshined his teammate Gasly, who finished in not 11th or 12th place, funnily enough. Sebastian Vettel, unlucky to be just outside the points. They had a massive upgrade, of course. They're now called the Green Bulls. Yeah, Green Bulls. But nonetheless, unable to get the most out of the car. Daniel Ricciardo, still not fulfilling his car, but at least close enough behind Norris to give it a good go. In 13th place, Gasly, Tsunoda's teammate, of course, just bringing up a Mick Schumacher, just to show you how far back Gasly was. 15th place. After that initial thing, Lance Stroll with the new updates. So again, disappointing for Lance Stroll. They really had a bad strategies. I think they went for 2. Nicholas Latifi, nothing you can do in the Williams. It seems to be going to the back of the grid again. 17th place, of course. 17th place, Kevin Magnussen, after that first lap incident. Never really managed to recover. The house just not strong enough. And Alex Albon, a disappointing 18th place for him. Obviously, the Williams, back of the team grid members. The other Alpha of Zhao Huanyu did not finish. He had car problems. And Charles Leclerc did not finish. Again, car problems. So unfortunate for Charles. He obviously loses the World Championship lead, which we'll discuss in one moment. So thank you very much, very much, everybody, for being here. We'll get to your questions soon. I just want to pass it straight over to the fabulous Fabio. Fabio, it was a Grand Prix to be reminisce on the bad side, I would say. What would you say about it then? How did you find it? Were there any outstanding things that we could be happy about? Us Italians, I mean.
It started okay because so the first thing I want to say is that I was really surprised. I was really I was in a good mood on Sunday, especially because Ferrari brought a big package, new stuff, to the track, and they seem to be a little bit lost on Friday. the they had some issues, they had some problems, but then on P3 on Saturday morning, they managed to get a hell of a car. So I mean, I was really into it. It showed that even if they started from a bad position on Friday, they did something really good. They seemed to have found a very good setup. Of course, it was unfortunate that the race went the way it went with Charles, and I think that strangely enough, they said it was an engine problem. I presume it was the turbo at least from the noise. You could hear the wastegate popping off, and I think it was either the turbo or an accessory. The only good thing I think you can say is that he managed to get back to the pit on his own power. So hopefully the thermic part of the engine
It's recoverable.
it's recoverable. So we'll see what happens. I know the engine has been sent to Maranello on Monday. They will check it out and see what the fuck happens. So other than that, there was some interesting things. Oh, okay. Unless you want to say something before.
Well, just quickly, just to say that before the failure, the engine failure or whatever it turned out to be, he was commandingly in the lead.
Oh yes.
And there would have been no doubt he would have won on this particular track under these conditions.
Yes.
It seemed that the Ferrari was a superior car, although
especially
cooling
with
is an
Charles.
issue.
Especially with Charles.
Yeah.
And we talk about it a little bit later when I want to say a couple of things about science. But no, you're totally right. I think it was what we saw in the first 18 laps, up until I think he retired on 18, 19, stuff like that.
27, I think, but yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh no, you're right. Yeah, I'm thinking about something else now. 18. Yeah.
I should get my notes out, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he was comfortably ahead. He took, all the advantage he had to take in the first laps, and then he was, managing the tires. He was actually not changing the tires compared to the other guys. So he was managing to keep, the tires, which, by the way, they were new. They took a huge gamble in Q2 on qualifying by not letting Charles out and saving a new set of soft tires. Those are the tires he started with, and even if they were new, he still managed to bring them, during the race. He wasn't even changing the tires when they had a problem with the engine. So that to me shows that they found a good balance with the tires, especially with the soft tires where they had issues. So yeah, I mean it was fine, but yeah, I mean it is what it is. So other things really quickly. There was a weird start procedure for Red Bull. They just get out of the pit lane literally, I think, 5 seconds before the red light came on, and the rumors are that they had some. So it was a mixture of fuel and temperatures, and one hypothesis is that they put the fuel. It was too cold when they put the fuel in the car. And so they had to wait up until the fuel was up to temperature. By regulation, the fuel has to be at tops has to be 10 degrees less than ambient temperature. So that might have been an issue. Red Bull has had problems with the fuel, so it's not uncommon. That raises an interesting question. I think it was either Binotto or Toto Wolff which said that the FIA should look into it, because the rule says that the fuel has to be 10 degrees less than the ambient temperature every time, not when it gets on the grid. So on paper, it should be that temperature, when the car is in the box and is filled up. So they will look into it. I don't know what's coming out of it, but if that's a weak point, I mean, now it's everybody against each other, it's
Yeah,
nice.
I think we know how the teams will react to that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which is to say, they can't get enough fuel. They've already designed their fuel boxes, or their fuel cells. In which
Oh yeah.
case, they need to cram in order to get enough fuel in to get to the end of the race. They need to cram it all in, right?
Oh no
So
no 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 no! You're right. I mean, but the good thing is that that kind of check is very easy to do. So they
yeah,
don't
yeah.
need, if the FIA wants to check the fuel, but they can do it, the temperature, they can do it really easily. Um, so that was it. Unfortunate for Bottas. Bottas was running a very good race. I think that what happened is that, well, unfortunately, they got with the wrong strategy of stopping 2 times instead
Yeah.
of 3, and that shows that this year at least, Alpha seems to have I mean, I would say a very good car. They have a consistent driver, Bottas, but the team is really behind the potential of the car. So that was the kind of
Well,
mistake that they should
yeah,
not be doing.
yeah.
You know?
Maybe I got to say, it seemed that traditionally, of course, a two-stop race at Barcelona is the way to go. But this year, of course, with the temperatures being skyrocketing,
Oh
tire
yeah,
wear was noticeably going to be higher. So I think most of the teams missed a trick by not starting on a three, or with the intention of being a three-stop strategy. And those
yeah,
that tried to go to stretch the first stint, obviously they all paid a price, including
yeah,
Hamilton and Russell as well. So, but although
yeah.
they managed to switch in time, at least when
Right.
they realised that Red Bull had switched strategies, a few
Yeah.
other teams came in straight away. So
No, 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 but I mean that, that kind of thing, it was already, and you're right about the 2 stops in Barcelona, but this weekend, everybody knew that it was going to be a difficult weekend. Pirelli issued,
hmm
the timesheets and all that stuff. So, I mean, 3 stops, it was, I mean, it was such a gamble doing a 2 stops. It wasn't, there was no data which would be able to to support that kind of gamble. And I think that Alpha, with that car and that driver, has to start thinking about the fact that they are not fighting, for 15 or so. You can gamble, but when you are,
mm,
I don't know. I mean, 7, 8, 6, fifth, you gotta be, using proper strategies.
yeah, yeah,
It's not. I mean, the other guys have to take the gamble, right? I mean, in order to pass you, you got to be
yeah, yeah,
fast, and that's it.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, um, uh, Beautiful race by Lewis Hamilton, I have to say. Really good race. He was whining like a puppy at the beginning. He wanted to save the engine, and
Oh
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
so. I would say that Lewis drove a fantastic race, but I think that the unsung hero of his race was actually Bono, which told him, no, go, because we think you're gonna get point 8 would be okay. So yeah, that
Yeah.
was really weird. And by the way, I mean, it
If I could just quote Bono over the phone, I think he said something like, "In the name of love." Was what Bono actually
yeah,
said to Lewis, and that stirred him up. Then go ahead. Sorry
yeah.
for the old joke, but
Yeah, but
gotta do it.
no, but the thing is that Lewis is a driver that, yes. So when he's pumped, he's really pumped, right? But he goes down as easy as he gets high.
Mm,
So and when he gets down, it's really difficult. So kudos to the guy which knew exactly what to tell to him in order not to give up. So yeah, I think that was a very tricky moment, for the team. What else? Okay, so one more thing, we're talking about the cars. Mercedes seems was getting better, even if they had big issues at the end of the race with the temperature
mm,
skyrocketing everywhere. Even when Russell was ahead of Verstappen, so in cleaner air, he had cool temperatures alarms on his car every time, so he was running
mm-hmm.
in fresher air. But yeah, they had huge issues, and that's why they have to give in at the end. And Sainz was able to overtake Lewis again. It wasn't a problem about fuel; it was a problem about temperatures that were,
Yeah. Paying the price, one might say, for the zero size side pods. In
Yeah,
some respects,
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
So
We got to remember there were 34 degrees in the air, and I think the track was 47, 50
50,
something.
yeah.
So yeah, it was very hot. Last thing
Hottest
about we talk,
Barcelona that I
yeah,
can remember, actually.
yeah, it
But
was really hot. So last thing, talking about cars, and then a couple of things about drivers. The Aston Martin. I have no fucking idea. I mean, can they actually design a car? Because, I mean, it's insane. Now I've heard that Helmut Marko is really pissed off. Is
oh,
going
yeah,
to.
well, isn't he? Yeah, but
Oh
yeah.
well, he's going. He said he's going to launch an internal audit or stuff like that. He's already. He already said, "Oh, there are 9 persons that we know." So it's going to be a fucking nightmare. Yeah, but but the car was so close to being a Red Bull. I mean, in shape now that it was. I don't know. Well, yeah.
I mean, it's
so
standard Formula One fare. I mean, you go back in the years, and every time Barcelona comes round, the cars homologate to
yeah, but
virtually
listen,
the
man.
best one. So I'm
So
not
no.
surprised.
Well, but it's not that I'm surprised. I think it's super funny that it's always Aston. You know what I mean?
Well, that's
the-
the good bit. Pink Mercedes to
Yeah.
green Red Bull.
Yeah.
Or Green
So,
Bull,
yeah.
as they're calling it. I mean,
And
why? It's how the game's played, and if you've got a
no,
team,
no. Yeah. It's
if
just
you,
funny. It's
I mean, there's a couple of things in there, though, isn't there? Which is they couldn't have designed it that quick since the Red Bulls come out at the beginning of the season. This was Red Bull's logic. Well, that's just bullshit straight away because we've had 5 races, right? So no, there's been plenty of time, right, for the aerodynamicists to whack something out, get the pictures, recreate it, put their own spin on it, and whack it out.
I don't
Yes,
know.
it's tight, but if you know you're going for Barcelona, you know you're going for Barcelona.
Yeah.
ahead.
I mean, unless Marco is right, we never know, right?
Well,
So
it helps that you've got a couple of Red Bull designers on your system now.
right. Yeah.
All right, but that's fair. That's all legal and above board. I
And
mean,
they-
this is just Red Bull whinging. This is nothing more than Red Bull whinging.
Yeah.
Just,
yeah.
just. Go ahead.
No, I would suggest Red Bull, to check if there are some, copy shop around the area where
Yeah.
somebody broke an hard drive, stuff like that. I don't know.
PC shops, yeah.
Yeah.
To
You know,
see
I
whether
mean-
anybody's girlfriend has booked in any
Yeah.
PCs for,
Right,
for
right.
repair. Yeah, no, I mean, I just think it's perfectly legal. Yeah, it's cheeky, and I understand that Red Bull were going to get pissed off about it, but it's clearly nothing like Red Bull in performance. So why they're being so?
Yeah, of course.
So why are they getting upset about it? Well, they're just getting upset about it because they want the fucking publicity. It's
listen,
another
I'm mo-
story. That's it. It's just
I'm
Helmut
only
Marko.
saying. I'm only saying that would be fucking hilarious if there was something real behind it. After that they were not able to prove anything with the carbon copy of the Mercedes last year, and now they shit the bed with that part. If there was something behind it, and I'm sure there isn't, but if there was something behind it, I would be laughing my ass off. It
Yes.
would be amazing.
Well,
Anyway.
I certainly would because it doesn't done them any good.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that's it. If they were up at 6th place, right, which they should have been, and for some reason maybe that's something there, but because they're in the same place that they were in before the upgrades came,
Yeah.
okay, they haven't got it working, whatever. So, anyway, I don't see a problem for this myself.
So two quick things about drivers before I presume you want to talk about Perez, but I want to talk about 2 drivers. So the first driver I want to talk about is Pierre Gasly, which is nowhere to be seen, and it's I think he's having the same problems that Ricciardo is having. I mean, meaning that they're not performing, and there might be some heavy atmosphere around them in the team.
Okay.
So there is that, especially because I mean, Gasly is beaten by bloody Tsunoda, every time. So that is really an issue, right? The other thing is that the other driver I want to talk about briefly is Sainz. Sainz. Okay, so how can I say in a diplomatic way? I think that Sainz has to wake the fuck up, and he has to do it. He has to do it now, like fucking now, because it's if 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 Charles drives the race that it is shown to be racing yesterday, at least up until Carlos has to be where Perez is with Verstappen. It's got to be there.
At
There is
least
no
there.
way around it.
At
And
least there, yeah.
yes, and it seems to me that he's a bit lost. I think that there is a problem with the car with Carlos. And I was looking at that, especially in the qualifying. It was really really brilliant to watch the Ferrari and the Red Bull side to side. The Ferrari is such a pointy car; it's fucking unbelievable. 2 centimeters of steering, and the front is straight there. It's mind-boggling. It looks like it's turning at with the mind and not with the steering. When it gets in the middle of the corner, he has a light back. Right, yeah, I'm about this. He has a light back, but here is the problem. Charles can manage to do that, and Carlos doesn't like that kind of car. This is the kind of car that, for example, Kimi Raikkonen loved, Verstappen loves. I mean, Charles, of course, he does. Vettel never loved that kind of car. Alonso never loved that kind of car. So it really depends. Ricciardo loved that kind of car. So it really depends on the driving style. And I think that that Carlos has to either step up, driving a different way. But I don't know. They got to do something because and finish. The problem is that it's not a thing like Russell and Hamilton where the car it's not performing well, right? There is Charles ahead is making pole position, is running like a bat out of hell. It is making fast laps. So the car, so you have a teammate which is showing you the potential of the car. And now it's up to you to get at least on par with that potential, And Carlos, I'm sorry to say, but he's been all over the place. In Imola, he crashed. Help me out there.
Again, every time he's crashed, it's rear end. It's been a rear end problem.
Yeah. So,
okay. Thank you. That is really great analysis. I concur 100% with that. And he needs to do it. The problem being, of course, last year the Ferrari wasn't as pointy. If anything, it suffered from understeer, and that's when Carlos shone compared to Charles.
yes.
Right now, they've changed the characteristics of the car. It shows that Charles can handle this kind of go-kart style car with a very strong front end. Now, I just point this out to you, and I think you'll agree, of course. As a driver, you can't learn to do it. You can if you like an oversteer car, you can learn to drive it with neutral when it's neutral. Yeah. If you like a neutral car, you can't learn to drive it with oversteer. So I don't think Charles can recover. I just don't. I don't think he's got it in him. Carlos, sorry. Yeah. I don't think Carlos can recover here. Really, because you can't change your driving style to the point where you're going to be able to learn to deal with those kind of you've got to change your reaction sort of status almost, and which is what you need when you're driving oversteer. You've got to be ready for it. You've got to be able to feel that back end moving the slightest amount and know exactly how much oversteer you have to put in order to correct. And that's not something you can learn quickly. It takes years and years, and you either are
No,
that type of driver or you're not. Damon
I
Hill
agree with you.
famously was an understeer driver, and he used to he got his world championship by having a car which was neutral and being able to drive it to the point where he did not degrade the tires at all. Right,
No,
and that's the advantage you have in driving Carlos's way. You're less
no,
heavy on tires.
yeah.
Carry on.
Okay, so I agree with you. So the thing is that if you have a car which has the potential to win the races, and it does, and it's behaving like that, as a driver, you got to do something. I agree with you that you can't change your driving style, from black to white, but you've got to do it. I mean, it's your duty to do something and to manage your driving style to suit the car you're driving in. The good thing about Carlos is that, let me back up a little bit. Carlos has also the moral imperative to actually do it, because if Vettel gets on that car, I mean, Vettel has won 5 world championship, right? I mean, if Lewis, for example, let's say Lewis gets in a car which doesn't suit his driving style, or I mean, that guy has already won 7. You know what I mean? So they can say, listen, man, I can win championship. Give me the car that I want. Carlos is not into that position, so he has to do it. There is no other way around. So he will have to find a way. The setup will be different from car to car, of course, but he has to put himself in the mindset that this is the tool that you have, and the most effective way to win races with that tool is to drive it in that way. You can drive that specific way, I get it, but you got to get as close as possible to driving that way, because the car is not going to change. That's the thing,
Well, I mean, presumably they've been trying to change it by taking off front wing, right, and just saying, okay, look, let's have a lower front wing, less oversteer, and we'll be good to go. Unfortunately, that's not the fastest way to drive this car, of course, as we found out. Plus, of course, the ground effect makes that very difficult to do anyway, or to balance a car that way, the way it used to be able to be done, because at least you could then take off. Yeah. So I don't think that you can't put any more wing on, in rear wing, which is what he really needs, right? He needs more rear wing, but then that's going to slow the car down. So I can't see a way around this. For me, there is no way around this other than to change his driving style.
Yes.
Right. So if I were him,
that's what we were saying, Yeah. And also about the rear wing.
Okay, if I were him, I would just say what I would do is go out every weekend, every day he can possibly get onto a go-kart track. Yes. I'd put rain tires on the back. I'd put super slicks on the front, and just go and hack around it until he finally gets used to driving something with so much oversteer that it's incredible, and that way at least he'll become a little bit accustomed to it, because there is no way to change his driving style in the whole.
And he is young, so it's easier for him, to find another driving style. That's a good thing about it. And you were right about the rear wing. I mean, that might have been a solution up to last year, but this year car, I mean, more than 50% of the ground effect is from the ground, is from the floor. So putting up a steeper rear wing, it's not really going to help you change the dynamics of the car as it used to be, because you're dealing with at best 25 to 30% of the ground effect coming from the rear wing, because the other 25 is the front wing, and more than 50% is the ground. So you haven't got a lot of leeway. Once the car is this is how the car behaves, and man, I mean, they're not gonna paint it blue for you, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's,
I thought of another way you could do it as well. Is put a driver in there which can deal with the oversteer, which is with the
Kimi.
with the oversteer. No, his dad.
Oh,
Just
is
put
that? Oh,
Carlos
yeah,
Sainz in.
fuck yeah.
Just straight away, Carlos Sainz in there. We're done.
Right. Yeah.
Don't need to change the name, anything. Just
Yeah.
put him in there.
Problem
Anyway,
solved.
I mean, there you go. It might even put the Ferrari even greaterly over the weights, though. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, there you go. Okay, so I mean, I think as usual, we've dissected it to pieces, and it's now lying on the floor in what can only be described as an unsolvable jigsaw puzzle. So there we are. Thank you very much for that, Fabio. I think we should bring Peter in now.
Do
Yeah.
you want to say sorry before you bring the other guy in? Do you want to
Yeah.
say something about Perez?
Oh, yeah, Perez, the pool cleaner.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. He's pretending to be butthurt after the race. I mean, how ridiculous is that? Like it's not written in his contract that if Max Verstappen needs his arse wiping, Perez is going to be the one which does it. I'm just saying, right? If we thought that Bottas was the butler for Lewis Hamilton, okay, I'm saying Perez is the pool cleaner for Max Verstappen.
You know who really got a huge benefit from yesterday's race? It's Perez's agent.
Okay.
They have no. I'm not kidding.
I've got no idea where you're going with this. Come on.
No. Now they have a huge coin to spend when they're gonna renew the contract and all that shit. That is a big assist for Perez's agent because they could say, I mean, my man is there. He does what he tell you to do, and fuck it. So
yeah. I mean,
I mean, look,
he knew that when he came into the team.
no, but yeah, okay.
What? I mean, why
no.
did like what's his name leave? What's his name? Who left? Sainz. Was it Sainz that left? No, Ricardo. Ricardo left because he didn't want to be Max Verstappen's number two. In fact,
so that reminds me before, and then I got really to call Peter. But there was a thing about Perez when he was, I think he was driving for Sauber, and I can't remember the thing exactly, but he had some issues with Alonso, stuff like that they had to make somebody overtake because. And he was adamant. So there was a journalist interviewed him because at the time he was in the Ferrari. He was driving for the driving academy. For Ferrari. And they told him, Checo, what do you think? Are you ready to go? Would you go drive for Ferrari, stuff like that? I said, yeah, I would do that, but I would never do what they did today, and I don't know who the fuck was, or stuff like that. I say, yeah, I mean, that didn't age really well for Checo.
That's not good, yeah. No. Again, when he signed his contract with Red Bull, if he thought he was going to get equal treatment to Max Verstappen, then, I don't know why he signed for that team. So I'm just, all I can see what he's doing is gaining himself a few brownie points with the team and trying to say, to put it out there, that if he thinks about leaving, then he's got at least a leg to stand on. That he is a good driver, and he could have won the races against Max Verstappen, but he wasn't allowed to.
It worked for Bottas, right? So even when they sacked him, they found him a very nice team. They paid a shit ton of money, and
there you go.
And now he's actually fighting with his old team against his old team. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we just want to say, Bubba, thank you so much. This race was the first race I saw where the wind was blowing cars into the gravel. Yeah. What would you say, Fabio?
I don't know. I'm a little bit less, of a bastard than you are. So I'd say that it can happen. If that was the case, so. I think that in the case of Carlos, I can see that happening because he lost the car way before it was, the it wasn't mid corner and stuff like that. So I can see myself. I can justify more a win gut with Carlos. I'm a little bit skeptic about Max because of how the car was in. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, we never know. If you got the data, you can figure it out. But I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't think Max's was necessarily a gust of wind, more like a gust of bullshit. And yeah, with Carlos, no, I still don't think it was a gust of wind as such. I just think he's unable to handle that car in that way. If you're trying too hard in that corner, it's always going to bite you. And if you turn in too quickly to the corner, which is what I believe he did, thinking to at least counter steer and not taking into account the oversteer of that car, then maybe that's it.
I understand your point. Just giving a little bit of leeway to Carlos because he really lost it in a really weird way. So
it was very early, like an eighth into the corner.
Yeah.
Whereas Verstappen was at a third into the corner.
When he lost the car. When he lost the car, I thought that he had rear brake problems. I honestly thought, he locked the wheels, but he didn't. So I was like, something wrong has happened. Yeah. But anyway.
Okay, and he also did that in practice as well. Just to point out, Leclerc also did the same thing in qualifying. So there was a history. So yes, Bob Elvis, you're absolutely correct. This is the first, but it seemed to be like because it happened on previous days. I don't think. I'm not sure it's a gust of wind. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, maybe I'm being a little too difficult, but thank you for the question. You almost forgot to give the stream a like. Yes, please do like the stream. It really does help, obviously, the algorithm, etc., etc. And so I'd like now to... we did send Peter to the race, but I didn't have a huge budget to spend on him this week, unfortunately. So, Peter, did you manage to get to Española, and if so, did you find somewhere to put the tent up that I sent you?
Well, as a matter of fact, I'm in a nice hotel with a great view. I'm sitting in front of the window, so you can see there's some kind of roof where they apparently store stuff. I have no clue. Nice. So in the intro, you saw this nice castle. Did you see the nice castle?
Yes, I did see the nice castle. Yeah.
That wasn't my hotel, but
no.
Okay.
No.
Yeah. So,
no.
But I do have some perks at least, but we're gonna get to that a little later. Which
excellent.
Yeah. So.
And how did you find the prostitutes in Barcelona?
Yeah. Very bull-like. Bull-like.
Oh, I see. You went for that kind of prostitute. Okay, that's fair enough. The ones with balls. Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay, so, but, so what happened? The most important thing to talk about is the blatant plagiarism that went on this week. I mean, I did notice Fabio's shirt, which could have been perfect if he had used the correct Aston Martin logo and then put up Nostradamus in front of it, because in hindsight, that fits every time. So that would have been a nice gesture with all the copying going around. And so that is literally my first thing too. We saw it on the Red Bull pit wall, actually, where they, blatantly copied the color of, obviously, of Aston Martin on their cans. I don't know if anyone saw. I did have a picture of that, but I forgot to put it in. But I do still have this one. They actually had green cans on the pit wall during the weekend, which I thought was
brilliant.
Yeah. It didn't go down well on social media. They called them out about it. But yeah, it is what it is. I mean, things happen. Mm-hmm. So my first thing is actually from a guy called the Lollipop Man. And this guy's brilliant. and I could throw in one of his cartoons every week, but yeah, probably not. But this one was nice. Lewis talking to Bottas. You were P19 at the beginning. How did you finish P5? Yes, we never give up. That is what we do. Then Bottas said, but I heard you wanted to retire the car after the puncture. And then Bottas looking over to Bono, and Bono obviously still in touch with Lewis. Yeah, retire the car is the tires are dead. I thought that was, yeah, pretty spot on. When it comes to being spot on, who weren't were Formula One. Every single week on social media, they will put up a teaser for the upcoming race. And so this was the teaser for this race. As you can see, it says F1 Live,
Wow.
Spanish Grand Prix build-up and drivers parade, but someone couldn't be arsed to change the picture, and so they still had the picture of the Miami Grand Prix.
Easy to do. I think
Yeah.
we've done that before, haven't we?
Yeah, I mean, it happens to everyone.
Yeah.
They do think of spicing up everything because they're American, which could explain this guy who I spotted in the Williams pit box. I'm not sure if it's a good thing bringing him back. Another good thing that isn't really a good thing. Have you heard about the new helmets, Simos?
I haven't, no.
You haven't. So apparently there's a helmet factory that came out with a brilliant new idea. Remember when, what's the old guy's name who used to run Formula One? I completely forgot him. Bernie something. He said that...
Bernie Eccleston.
Yes, he complained that the drivers were changing the helmet design because they weren't recognizable. Remember that when that came in?
I do, yes. I remember that.
So there's a helmet manufacturer who came up with a brilliant idea. They will print the face of the driver onto the helmet. I'm not even kidding.
I like that. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah.
If I could have a helmet, if I could have that helmet, I would.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, you can't have that helmet, but you're in the UK. You have Selfridges, right?
Yes.
Yes. Well, they immediately replied to that with something of their own. They hired famous fashion designer Jean-Paul Gaultier, and they made a dress that I would obviously really like to see on you, Simos. I mean, you're always naked. This one would be perfect.
Yeah.
You can still be naked, and yet...
I will go and get that for you. Okay.
Okay. Well, and the last thing that I want to come to is I usually on race day I am in the paddock, and on Mondays I'm still here, and then I have to wait until this broadcast is done because I have to do that from on site because that was the one thing you insisted on.
Oh yeah.
So I could show off.
Yeah.
So I could show off the immense budget that was being placed into getting me to every circuit, and so
No expense
It's not,
spared.
I mean, it's not exactly like that. It's just that you always forget to mention that we actually sold you to FIA, so you have to clean the box after they left. That's why
Well-
you have to stay up until Monday. So
Okay.
it's most like being a janitor than actually being. But yeah, okay.
see, and this is coming
That's
from.
how we cover for your expenses.
This is
Yeah,
coming.
I mean,
This is
we
coming from
can't
the man.
afford to-
Hold on. This is coming from the man who complained, along with his other co-host, all of last season how inconsistent Bottas was, and he just said Bottas is very consistent. I mean, yeah, I took a note of that. Last year he wasn't
Hey,
consistent enough, and now you say he's a very consistent driver. So, but no, okay.
I don't think we never said it was inconsistent last year. I mean, it was consistently a butler.
Consistently
So-
bad.
And he's consistent now.
Yes.
because
Well,
he
we've
has
been
a
saying
better
that
car.
for a number of years, to be fair. And if you're not wringing the neck to try and keep up with someone like Lewis, then it's much easier to drive within your own limitations. Let me just say that.
Or if that is the case, you venture out into other things, which is what I discovered this Monday because there was a book signing And I went there. It was a guy called, I wrote it down, Stroll. Lawrence Stroll. He seems to be an upcoming author. He just put out his first book. It's a very nice book, How to Copy a Car, by Lawrence Stroll. And it does have some notes on the cover as well. Lawrence has a unique gift for understanding drivers and racing cars. He's ultra competitive, but never forgets to have fun. An immensely likable man, Damon Hill. So, yeah, he had his name on the cover. And then the other note is the greatest Formula One copier of his and any other age. Sunday Times. So, yeah. Nice book. He signed it for me.
There you go.
So,
Yeah. Very nice of him.
those are the perks from
I
being.
can see in the I can see in the corner it says Adrian Newey down the spine. Okay.
Yeah, it did.
But never mind.
Medley probably. But.
We should. Yeah, I didn't
Gordon
mention.
Gordon Murray was the one I was thinking of, but okay.
Okay.
I didn't mention that part just because I mean Red Bull is already pretty irked about the whole thing, so we shouldn't bother them anymore.
Yeah.
I think.
Okay, that's all good. All good. Okay, well, thank you for that. That was actually was very, very good. And hello, ciao.
Yeah, she can't hear you. He's wearing earbuds. So
He's wearing earbuds. Okay.
He should say ciao for you, but he has you muted, I think.
Yes, probably.
And now it's too late to say
but
ciao.
Anyway, it's good. It's good. He's doing his technical duties, changing the batteries by the looks of it.
I mean, it is a little bit annoying to see that I'm on a minimal budget, whereas Fabio has a secretary who's bringing him all the stuff. I mean,
of course I do. Yes, you do.
Yeah. Just bringing in the latest figures of the latest viewing figures.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 3 viewers, 2 of which are us.
And one
so
is the
thank you, Bob.
Yeah.
Okay, hang on. I'm gonna just another comment. I haven't read it yet, but I'm gonna put it up anyway. Thank you, Bob. Would you guys like to see more new names in F1 every season? Answer: if yes, would some new rules help with that? That is an interesting question. Fabio, over to you.
I'm not so much into new drivers, as a rule, because I mean, I just want to see good drivers driving those cars, right? There is kinda of a rule, and one that says that. I mean, I can't remember the numbers exactly, but I think that as a team, you got to have another driver, a designated new driver, running, I think, 25% of the free practices and stuff like that. So that's why I think last weekend Alpha had Kubica, and there was, I think, some other guy for Williams driving some new guy. Yeah.
Vips,
so
what the rule is, there has to be a novice driver,
yes,
so a rookie driver for 2 free practice ones at least. So I don't know about percentages, etc.
Which, by the way, I think that is a really good thing, because the biggest problem with those cars is that there is literally nothing which compares to those cars. So even if you are a very good driver, the time it takes to adapt yourself to that car is really long. So that I think it's a very smart rule.
Yeah, I mean, it should at least encourage, or at least allow the teams to vet the new drivers as to see whether they are going to take them or not. But let's be honest, Max Verstappen was brought in at 17. Why? Because they knew how good a race driver he was, or how fast a race driver. They didn't know how good he was, but they knew how fast he was. And Charles Leclerc bought in because they knew he was a very fast driver, right? So I don't think they can do the simulations. They know how good these guys are. They give them one test in the car, and they can find out how quickly they're going to adapt. Bearing in mind, it does take, as you said rightly, it takes years to adapt to a Formula One car. It's not something that happens overnight, but the best drivers are going to be able to do it, and that's the
No, yeah, but
guaranteed mark.
there is
And
also
the others that haven't, they're all paid drivers, by the way.
yeah.
Let me just get that straight.
Yeah.
Okay, and until we get rid of paid drivers,
That is the
then
rule
this
that I
idea
would.
about new drivers.
Yeah, that is.
Until we get rid of the paid drivers, hang on. Until we get rid of the rule about paid drivers and having paid drivers, then there's no chance that having just new people in is going to be any good for the sport.
Yeah.
No,
So,
that's
go ahead, Peter, sorry.
yeah. That was I was waiting for that because that is a. I think that should be made a rule that you cannot have paid drivers. If you're talking about Formula One being the pinnacle of motorsport, then you should have the pinnacle of drivers there, not the people with the most money, and that is something. Well, Maldonado was one. I do think that Lance Stroll
He was actually the first.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, Lance Stroll was another. I think he proved himself at least to be worthy to be here because he's shown a few good things. But I just hate the fact that they bring in paid drivers, and that shouldn't be a thing.
Sure. I mean, it is a thing. It has been a thing for a long time. I will just point out, Schumacher was a paid driver. Senna was a paid driver. Two of the greats of Formula One. So,
Lauda was a paid driver.
Who?
Lauda,
of course, Lauda. There you go. Yeah.
But do you think they would have made it? Do you think they would have made it if they hadn't been paid drivers?
No, they wouldn't have made it.
no.
Why not?
Lauda would have.
Because they wouldn't have been given a chance.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, Senna had to beg, steal, and borrow to get his way into Formula One.
Lauda had basically to buy half of the team. I think it was Shadow, not Shadow, but something. I can't remember. But he had to buy half of the team, and so
I can't remember either.
yeah.
I just saw it recently, and I can't even remember it now. So Senna paid for his ride in Tolman, and as the smaller teams did, right?
That's why I think. And I'm still behind that. I think that the budget cup rule is very sensible, even on that point of view. Because it might help.
It might help.
One of the biggest problems, with having a team is that you're always starving for money, and if there is no budget cap, everybody can spend the money. In order for you to reach the person ahead of you, you got to spend gazillion of euros, and if there is a budget cap, that at least can help, tone it down everything a little bit. The teams are not so well. I mean, some of them will be struggling for money anyway, but it's not that those guys are spending 50 millions and I got 2, right?
Yeah.
So there's not that disparity.
And it's kind of worse. Not only do these guys pay the teams, but they also come with sponsors as well now. So
Yes.
it's not that they actually pay the teams money. It's that they actually come with a sponsor which is going to give an extra 20, 30 million to the car.
Yeah.
Right. And that kind of money, no smaller Formula One team can turn down.
Oh, I mean, the last example is the last blatant example is Checo Perez. I mean, Perez basically saved Force India. I mean, because
there's that as
they
well.
were going bankrupt, and he came here with the money from the beer guy. I don't know what the fuck it was, but basically managed.
Rich Energy, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
The paid guy, presumably. I mean, obviously, the Russian kid as well, right? I mean, that was 60 million. Lance Stroll put in 80 million odd to Williams, right? So, I'm just saying, I think, although we decry the paid drivers, and it does make it worse, right? But I do think that, Formula One couldn't have survived. Some teams couldn't have survived without them. And as I say, there's a whole history of them trying to get the best of those drivers. And now everybody is a paid driver, it seems, that comes into Formula One.
The last world champion in a major series that I recall of that literally had no money behind because he wasn't coming from a rich family, no stuff like that, is Davide Valsecchi when he won the GP2. That is the last guy I remember I can think of that won a major championship without a big backup of money behind him.
Just trying to think.
And that's years.
I can't think of any that
But
haven't
yeah,
come into Formula One without at least a sponsor.
Oh no, not in Formula One. Not in Formula One. I can't
Not again, not since the 90s anyway. Maybe in like the 80s, late 80s. Mansell going to Ferrari, obviously, that kind of thing, you know. But again, he didn't come in. You know, he actually came in without sponsorship at all. He came in to Frank Williams as a non-paid driver, but then he was paid so little. Williams wouldn't pay him any money. They just said, "Come and drive our car. You'll be lucky," you know.
Even Gilles wasn't paid too much.
No, there you go. Back in the days, in the late 70s, yeah.
Okay, fuck it. You know, we're going. Yeah,
But-
this is going to be
so now-
the history.
Now I'm curious. Now I'm
Yeah.
curious if I'm going to play devil's advocate. If both of you can make a new rule for Formula One, what would it be?
Oh, I know.
Go ahead.
Take the floor out and reduce the wings about to 15% of what they are right now.
Yeah, I would say reduce the weight.
Weight too, yeah.
That would be my number one kind of goal. But I liked
is-
it in 2016, I think it was, when they had the narrow rear wing, high narrow rear wing. I thought that was the best kind of recent year of Formula One race cars.
I agree with you on the weight. Weight is tricky for the safety, but yeah, I see
Yeah.
your point anyway. Yeah, but well, basically what I want is to get rid of the aero as much as I can, and get back to mechanical grip.
Okay. What about you?
What about
Peter.
me?
Yeah, what would you say?
Considering this season, I think that there should be a little bit more technology allowed in the cars.
Yeah.
The whole
That's good,
porpoising
that's
thing
good.
wouldn't have happened if they were allowed active suspension, and I don't see that as a harmful thing. Why not allow it? I still
Or
can't
just-
find.
It's money. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's true as well. Let's just
Yeah, but if you have
Elvis,
if you have the budget cap, then they'll have to do it within that budget cap. So it wouldn't change anything. It would just make people
Right.
more
Then
creative.
yeah, but you know, in order to do that, you will have either you got to have more standard parts, which I mean it sucks anyway,
Yeah.
or you got to have stuff that revs lower or more crude cars. So I mean, the active suspension it's a lot of money, like a huge amount of money.
you don't need to go all the way to active though to get rid of
No,
the
but
porpoising.
listen,
You could
even
just
if
go
you-
to bumps and dampers, and that's almost
Right,
enough to get
but-
rid of it. So.
So just controlling them. Usually, what you will need, I would say, is 3 ECUs minimum, right, to control the system. One ECU, I think it's 75,000 euros each. So you're talking about 180, 150,000 euros from the get-go just to get the ECUs and put them on the car. And
Okay,
then
but
there is
in
cabling,
comparison
there
to
is the
that-
whole system.
In comparison to that, what do you think it cost trying to figure out how to get rid of the porpoising? Because now you've got
Way
to pay.
less.
I don't know. With all the testing and the
way
people
less.
you have to pay to do it.
They don't test too much. That's the problem
No.
because they can't test.
Yeah.
So test is out of the question, right?
You can't
So-
test in a
so-
computer. I mean, you can have a virtual
Yeah, but
setup.
that's cheap.
Yeah, but you still have to.
That's not good. That's not going to work. That's not going to work. They can't test it in the computer simply because they can't predict how the airflow is going to be under
Yeah.
the car. So that can't be done either because they can't test. So it all
Mhm.
comes with this new with the new downforce or the new floors. They've got no way to compare real life examples against computer aided design or CAD design. So there's nothing they can do to make comparisons and have a reliable CAD system working. I just want to go to what Baba was to say. My new rule: if you lost to your teammate 3 seasons in a row, you're out of Formula One for 5 years.
Well, I mean, if that was true, Nico Rosberg would have never won a world championship. So,
Yeah, there you go.
yeah.
There you go. And it would also mean that teams would have to swap drivers after every 2 years.
Oh, yeah.
Because, Perez would be out.
Oh,
And
right. Yeah.
and it would end up in Red Bull being a one-car team. Because who's going to take the risk?
But yeah.
Well, who's going to take the risk?
Oh, anybody that wants the money. They just have to pay their second driver more, So there you go. But yeah, I grant it. It's a lovely idea, probably impractical in the actual politics of it. But there we go. I love the idea. Okay, thank you. Do you want to finish up, guys? Because I think we've just gone over an hour already.
Fine. Yeah.
So, Peter, what would you like to say?
Yeah, I'm pretty much fine. I'm looking forward to Monaco.
Think of something then.
Well, look, I'm looking forward to Monaco. Who's the guy that you all are rooting for? Charles Leclerc and his track record in Monaco.
Yep. Charles Leclerc. Yes, he is a Monegasque.
Yes.
So hopefully he's got home field advantage, and hopefully the Ferrari showing that it's done so well. It won't be as hot next week in Monaco. So
how many races has he finished in Monaco?
Not very many, I don't think.
No, none. Not even a drive in Niki Lauda's Ferrari.
Yeah.
Last week.
Yes, he crashed it at the historic event.
Yeah.
Weather might be an issue in Monaco next weekend.
In terms of heat or rain?
Rain.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
well,
they're expecting rain.
A wet Monaco is never a great Monaco. Let me just say that. But okay, well, we'll have to hope for better. Monaco, 27th to 29th. The race is on the 29th. We'll be here on the 30th, of course. And looking forward to it. It should be a good race. High downforce setup. So we're going to be favouring Ferrari and probably Alfa. In fact, all of the Ferrari teams should be doing better. I would imagine that the Aston Green Bull is going to be doing a little better because they would have had a bit of time to fine tune their setup, or at least steal some more ideas from Red Bull. And in which case, that should be good. Also, it'll be exciting to see if Mercedes, Lewis Hamilton, and George Russell do very well, because this will tell us whether their zero side pod concept is going to be a winner this season or not. If they're nowhere at Monaco, then I feel that that's pretty much the death nail for this particular concept of having such a narrow car, and they will in fact switch to a better cooling system, shall we say?
I don't know what you're talking about. They never make mistakes, so I don't know.
They don't.
I really have no idea what you're talking about.
They never make mistakes. Indeed. In which case, we'll leave it on that, because we never make mistakes.
Yes.
So with a real harbour, Monaco. Thank you. Yeah, it's next week, everybody. So enjoy. Thank you very much, Bub, for the questions as usual, and we'll hope to see you next week. Thank you for the likes, everybody. And if you'd like to play us out, Peter, that would be great.
Will do. Bye, everyone.